Hello and welcome to Wake Up Our Faith. The second hour here, we call this Faith in Business. This is all about helping you live out your faith where you spend the majority of your time, and that is between Sundays. We are all about just entrepreneurism for the kingdom, like people who are living this out in their everyday and just fostering relationships, celebrating people who are living kind of exceptional lives and excellent lives for the kingdom. And we have one of our good friends in studio today, Melissa the coach. Melissa is one of our corporate partners. We will talk more about Melissa and let her share a little bit about what she does. But we just want to make sure that you guys check out our corporate partners. We're so deeply appreciative of them. One of them being Century 21 Swire and Associates. They've been in the real estate business for more than 30 years here in southeastern North Carolina. The number one Century 21 agency in the Carolinas and one of the top in the country. Make sure you give them a call if you're buying or selling a home. The market's crazy right now. It's definitely worth your time to check it out. 910-256-0021. As always, Kevin Adams. I'm sorry.
No, I'm here, man. Clear and present.
Oh, man.
Ready to get into what's going on with Melissa, the coach.
Yeah.
What's
I'm
new
here.
with you and all that. So I don't know. Did you have any kind of preference? Wanted to open that up?
Yeah, I just want to tell
Things on
folks.
your mind.
Yeah, Melissa's been with us before, and Melissa, last time you were here, you shared a lot about your story, your journey from going from being in debt to debt free to
Right.
chase your dream of.
Right.
And you've been to 2 Elton concerts
I have.
since we met last.
I have, yes.
Tell us a
Finally
little-
recovered from those.
Yeah. Give us
Recovery.
yeah,
give us a bit of that, and then we'll dive into more about your business.
Sure. So I went to Raleigh and Columbia, which was a driving trip for me. So it was a little weird because the last several concerts I've been to, it has been airplane travel. So it was a little weird not having to worry about airplane travel. But I'm constantly reminded when I do these trips, especially when I drive, how old I am, because the drive back after 2 nights of concerts in a row is just not fun at all.
Yeah.
So, but luckily my friend, so I went to Raleigh and met a bunch of friends there, and then my friend Tammy and her husband went to the Raleigh show, and then Tammy and I continued on to Columbia, where we met with other friends there, and we all went to the concert together. So Tammy and I had the ride back, so at least I had some company on the way back, which was super cool. And it was concerts 43 and 44, and it just it's interesting how the both concerts were fantastic as always, but the Columbia concert in particular, we decided we were going to Uber to the concert, and we got this great Uber driver. His name was Lonnie, and we opened the car door and there was Kayla Vaughn in the car. So Tammy and I both looked at each other. We were like, we're good. Like this is going to be awesome. And so we had great conversation. And when we got to the concert, we asked him, how do we get you to take us back? Because it was going to be like 12:30. We want to make sure we're safe, all that. He's like, well, here's my number. You call me when you're ready. So we gave him a call, and he said he was about 30 minutes out. And I looked at Tammy and I said, I do not want to wait for 30 minutes outside the concert venue, because by that time I was done. It had been a lot of travel and late nights and all that. And the problem was that we couldn't get another, like all the Uber drivers were like 30, 40 minutes out. So there's a police officer there. And so the police officer is like, well, I'm here until the last person leaves, so I can wait here with you guys. And we were right outside the merchandise truck. And so we were looking at all the merchandise and stuff, and the merchandise truck is this big 18-wheeler that has Elton John all over it, and it just, the sides open up and people can just walk up to the truck and buy stuff. And there was this guy like packing up the truck, and so I turned around to him and I said, hey, are you the driver of the truck? And he said, yeah. I said, how do I get your job? Because that's just a cool job, like to drive all over. And he's like, oh, you got to know somebody to get this job. And I was like, okay, no, really? And he's like, no, seriously. Like, I got this job through a friend of a friend. So we got to talking, and the one thing I love about going to concerts and meeting new people is hearing their stories. And this guy started working for Publix when he was like 14, 15 years old, worked himself up the corporate ladder, retired at age 45, was looking for something else to do. Through his networking in the corporate world, found people, and that's how, and he ended up getting this job. And so I, of course, told him my story about becoming debt-free and going to all these Elton concerts. And my friend Tammy's been to like 50 or 60 concerts by this point. So we were all talking. And it was, you know, we were just as amazed by him and his story as he was by our story. But had we not had to wait for the Uber driver, we would have missed that chance. So I'm always looking, you know, in retrospect, you know, you get really frustrated because we were ready to go back to the hotel and get to bed and be done with our day. And we were frustrated because we couldn't do that in the time that we wanted, right? But the time that we were given to wait allowed us this opportunity to meet David and hear his story and all that kind of stuff. So that's those kinds of things that happen for me are just a constant reminder too of God's timing, that there's always this, you know, you have to wait and you have to wait. And there are times in your life where you're going to be frustrated by things, but there's always a reason for that frustration and for that having to wait for things to happen. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. It strikes me. One of the things that hit me a while back was this idea of being a yes man for God. And as you were saying all that, it was so cool. Man, this is a yes lady, a yes daughter, yes man for God. Yeah. And you've got that all over you. Just that energy.
Thanks.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's
well, I've certainly learned my lesson. That's a whole nother show, but it's because I've gotten to the point in my life where there is no other way to be except that way. Yeah.
You just all in. And but what you see and what you're describing just in one nugget there was God's timing.
Right.
It's perfect.
Right.
There's no risk. Wherever he leads, there is no risk.
There is no risk. Exactly.
So you're just living that out. And
yeah.
You have all these cool stories.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. You can tell Melissa is just a great speaker, which is part of what you do.
Yes.
And what you want to continue to do more of.
Right.
You know, Melissa is a speaker and personal financial coach. But I love how you have learned. I've watched you grow.
Yeah, we've known each other for a long time.
For the first time we met, and watching you grow as a speaker, as someone who tells stories. And it's just a testimony to kind of God continuing to develop you for what he wants you to do.
Right.
And you know, as we walk with people at UPrint, that's what we do. And you see this growth in people when they're courageous enough to step into what it is that God has called them to do.
Right.
And so that's super cool. Well, Melissa, tell everybody a little bit more about, you know, what you do, you know, and how they can kind of connect with that.
Sure. So in general terms, I help people manage their money so they can live their life on purpose. So what that means is people saying, I want to do X, but I don't have the money to do it. And that a lot of times that's an excuse not to do something, is to say I don't have the money, because there's always ways to get the money. There are you know, you can increase your income, you can decrease your expenses. And, you know, a lot of what I say, people are like, oh, you make it sound so easy. And it's not easy. It's very difficult. A lot of managing money has to do with what's going on up here, not necessarily with the math. Everybody can do math. Everybody can put in their income and they can subtract their outgo and they can create a budget, but it's following the budget where I come in as a coach and help people through that process. So, you know, the first thing is that people have to realize that they struggle with following their finances, with following what it is that they want to do. A lot of what I specialize in, because that's what my husband and I went through, is helping people to get out of debt. Because if you take all the payments you have, or even just your car payment, and you think about all the things that you can do with that car payment. You know, you can give more, you can save more, you can certainly spend more, but the spending more can be on, you know, Elton John tickets or, you know, whatever it is that you want to be doing. So if people feel like they're called to do a certain thing, and then they're looking at their finances and they're going, well, I'd love to do that, but I have no idea how that's going to happen. That's where I can step in and help them process that and help them kind of deconstruct what they have and then put everything back together in a way that they can follow it. I do obviously teach a lot of what Dave Ramsey teaches, because that's the plan that we followed. But having been a financial coach for 7 years, I understand that process doesn't work for every single person. So if somebody comes to me and they know I'm a Dave Ramsey person and they say, I'm not eating beans and rice to cut down on my grocery budget. Okay, fine. Yeah. Let's not do that. But how else are we going to save the money, or, what else can we cut out? Because you got to cut something in order to have extra money to pay down the debt. And then what's your purpose for getting out of debt and staying focused on that goal? So.
Yeah, we were talking last segment about kind of pray with your feet moving in a sense, and you just exude that. So we come back. I got a question for you.
Awesome. Yes. Perfect.
I hear the music. So.
Yeah. This is fantastic, Melissa. Thanks so much for sharing your heart.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Melissa walks with people. That's what we do.
Yes.
That's why she's here. It's the same heart. It's beautiful. Guys, back for more Faith in Business right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of our show, Wake Up Our Faith. Matt Ham and Kevin Adams with you every week. We're the co-founders of Uprint, a faith and personal development organization. This show is all about helping you bridge your gap between Sundays and live out your faith where you spend the majority of your time, and that is in business. We're joined in studio today by Melissa, the coach, a good friend. Always love Melissa, her energy, just her light, and we're looking forward to diving into her story more and how you guys can get plugged in with what she does. We want to thank our corporate partners for making this show possible. As we said, Melissa, the coach, is one of those. We also want to recognize Chris Riley, our good friend at Fountain Financial Associates. They are all about giving clients and families a better life and in the business of keeping promises. When it comes to investment, long-term investment strategy, financial management and such, give Chris and the team at Fountain Financial a call, 910-256-8882. Kev, before we went to break, Melissa was sharing a story. You said you had a question. I want to make sure we dive right back into that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's interesting. We have two segments typically, and one is more geared toward business, and you are our guest today and good friend. But the first segment, we were talking about sort of praying with your feet moving. I don't think I actually said it that way, but you, I'm a big feeler, so I get the whole vibe thing. But what I pick up here is this confidence, and I know that what I wanted to say to people is, if you go back to that segment and how do we connect it to what you're doing, it's one of the things we talked about was painting your target and praying from victory and looking at that and believing and trusting those things that God's already put in your heart, stepping into it.
Yeah.
Well, what you're doing is you're the feet moving part. And so that's one of the things we want to talk about with our partners is you start there and then call Melissa, because she's going to help you get to that next place.
Right.
And the thing that I'm just drawing out of this, and I did last time too, is this lady has just confidence. She's gentle but firm. And it's just, man, it's exciting. I mean, you can help people get from that place of I'm believing it to actual freedom. You said live life on purpose.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah. So I just want to I don't know if it's a question, but if you get around this lady, you can feel it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Yeah.
But anyway, so that said, there is a how. God is the how, but God uses people to uncover the how. So I think you get to be the how to people when they don't know how.
Right.
And, so just talk about, a little bit more about your work and how the spiritual walk, the blessing, it's practical and sensible, but yet it's spiritual.
Yes. So, one of the things that I have been told that I help people with was, when like most people, when you go into business and, people are like, what's your mission statement? I went into business totally backwards. I didn't have any of that. I just started and just kind of figured things out as I went along. But one of the things that people have told me is that I help them get unstuck and help them see what is possible. And so one of the things that I do that's a little bit different from the Dave Ramsey budget is I always do, giving is always number one, and we always have a conversation about that. And sometimes people are like, I don't give. Why don't you give? Because I don't have the money. Okay, well, we're going to put 10% off the top. And where do you have a church? Do you have a charity? Do you, and I kind of help people with that. And most of the time, their immediate reaction is, I can't. That's why we're starting with this at the top, right? This is the number one thing you have to do, because, and it always comes back to the, with God, all things are possible. So you have to put God first, and then, and then everything else. So then the second thing is saving, because as we work through the baby steps, the first step is $1,000 in a savings account. So we prioritize the giving and the saving. After that, everything else is sort of, left up to what the client, kind of what's important. But and obviously, we all have rent or mortgage and electricity and car payments and all those necessity things. Mm-hmm. But what I try to teach people is that if you have a dream or a goal or something that you want to do, it cannot be at the bottom of the budget, because it'll never get done, because you'll always run out of money to pursue whatever it is, whatever dream God has given you, or whatever that is. It will always fall to the bottom of the budget, and it will always fall off because it's not priority. So I always ask people, what's their bucket list? Like, what are the things that you want to do that are not, and a lot of times when, like, especially when I'm, I do meet with couples, but I do also meet with people individually, because sometimes it just works better that way. But especially with moms, they're like, well, I want my kids. What do you want for you?
Yeah.
What do you want for you? Not what do you want for your family? Like, that's important, because obviously I'm a mom. I want things for my kids. I want things for my husband. I want things, whatever. But what do you want for you? And sometimes, the most recent one that comes to mind says, well, I work full time, manage the household, with the kids, all that. I would really like once a week to get a massage. Okay, great. And she looked at me and she said, what do you mean? Okay, great. I said, well, let's put that in the budget. She said, I totally thought you were going to tell me that I can't do that. And I said, well, we don't know that yet. Right? Yeah. Because maybe you can't go once a week, but maybe you can go once a month. Maybe we can, but if you want once a week, how much does that cost? Okay, let's put it in the budget. For me, the analogy I always give my clients is putting a budget together is like putting a puzzle together, and you have all the pieces spread out, and you have to start with the outer edges, and then the middle edge, the middle pieces are the hardest parts sometimes. But if you start, you've got to start with something, and then you just have to plug everything in. And when you're done, your income and your expenses, you have to have zero at the bottom, and you have prioritized everything. And once you start prioritizing everything, you see, when you become aware and you're looking for things, you see how God works in your life to make things happen. People ask me all the time, how did you pay off $43,000 of debt in less than 4 years? And I said, well, that was God. Because on paper, when we started, there was no way it was happening in less than 4 years. But looking back, and even going through the process, but especially now looking back, I can see where certain things happened at certain times, that the only explanation is that was God working through, because we were diligent to the process.
Honoring your faith.
Honoring our faith, yes.
That's so good. Gosh, it's so good coming out of your exuberance too, because of your wisdom and knowledge about it. I'm telling you guys, you've got to call this lady, because she just makes you feel like you can do it.
You can do it. And I'm living proof that you can do it. So that's awesome. Where I get, and when people say to me, I can't do it, I'm like, no, that's not why you came to me. You didn't come to me because you felt like you couldn't do it. You came to me because you felt like there was, that tiny mustard seed of hope, that little tiny bit. And then I just helped them, go plant it and grow it and go along the way there. So
it's great.
I want to encourage folks to connect with Melissa the coach at gmail.com. Also give her a call, 910-338-9612. Just make sure we say that. anywhere
you.
on the social networks as well at Melissa the Coach. Melissa, when you're talking, I'm thinking about the dream tree, the vision tree,
Desire tree. Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah,
it's the exact same thing we're talking
every
about.
week.
Every week
This
it happens.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's something we say at UPrints. One of the texts we get is that you and God have the same dream.
Right. Right.
And that's beautiful. You're living proof of that. Melissa, what do you see as the challenges that most people face? What do you think is the obstacle, the roadblock for people that gets in the ways too often?
100% of the time it's mindset. It's people not thinking that they can do it, not seeing, what's the expression, the forest through the trees, so to speak, because they're so mired down in the muck of their own situation that they can't see anything. It's almost like they have blinders on, and they just can't see a way out. So there are some times where, people are just, as a description, they're so far down in the hole, they can't see how to even, where to put the ladder to even get out, that sort of thing. And so that's really what I help people with, is just overcoming that mindset, but then also showing them what's possible, is to sit down and, okay, hypothetically, if you paid off this and this and this, and you had this much money, and then you saved this much money, and then you can, do whatever it is that you want to do. And people go, oh, well, I didn't think about that, and because they can't think, because they're so stuck where they are,
Right.
They can't see beyond that. And for me, I have no emotional involvement in their mess. And so I'm able to come in and see kind of what the way out and help them to navigate that. So, yeah.
Great.
That's fantastic, and a good chance for us to take a break here. Guys, you were listening to and watching Wake Up Our Faith, our second hour here, Faith in Business. We're joined by Melissa the Coach. Just a wonderful testimony, kind of living proof of that you can get out of debt, chase your dreams, and she can help. Melissa the Coach at gmail.com. We'll be back for more right after this. Hello, and welcome back to Faith in Business. This is the second hour of our show, Wake Up Our Faith. We talk about bridging the gap between Sundays. That is where you spend the majority of your time, and for most folks, that is in business. One of the things I love about this show and what we do at UPrint is highlighting the fact that this can be done, that there are people who have gone ahead of you that have been courageous enough to pursue their dreams, and most of those people are genuinely interested in helping you pursue yours. We are about kind of being a curator, if you will, Kevin. I like that word. We're a curator of excellence in our business partnerships.
That's Van Gogh.
That's right. We bring this just wealth of wisdom and knowledge to the table to help people break free of their spiritual strongholds, but also navigate other areas of their life. And Melissa the Coach is with us today. She is a speaker and personal finance coach. We're going to talk a little bit more about what she does in her work. One of our corporate partners as well is the Honeycutt Group. This is a family-owned insurance brokerage company, more than 10 years in the business, multiple office locations in North Carolina. Chad and his team are happy to help with any of your auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance needs. Certainly applicable to our conversation today. 910-338-1773 is their phone number. We highly encourage you to give them a call. Kevin, you were talking in the break just about Melissa and being here, and what that means to people who are genuinely wanting to transform and change their lives, and here's somebody who can help them do that.
Yeah, well, it occurs to me, and it did last time when you're on too. It's just a natural progression. I mean, the church is a family,
Right.
and everybody's got their own gifts and wisdom that God just put. It's anointing through gifts, and then you apply effort.
Yeah.
And you're teaching that in your own environment and expertise and experience, and there's such exuberance and confidence in it. That's the thing that. If it's not just the dry practicality of it, that is a must.
Yeah.
But you're bringing this confidence that's it's just very it's very much spirit led, and I know people can hear this, but you gotta give this lady a call and feel it. One of the things that you talked about your, what do you want? Like this personal thing, it matters, and set that in your budget.
Right.
And we talked about, we teach this thing called a desire tree, and it's the desires of your heart. Well, you always start with with God, you
Yes.
know, your Father, you want to please Him above all else.
Right.
Then you carry out your mission. You go all the way up to, you know, like for my wife, maybe on the way outside of this tree, there's a purse.
Yeah.
You know, but it all starts from the roots,
Right,
and that's
right.
exactly what you're doing in that financial management, the practical steps of getting debt free, so you can be free
Right.
to get that
Right,
purse
right,
or
right.
the blazer
Yes.
or the surfboard,
Yes.
or go to Elton John.
Right.
You know,
or
these-
do whatever you want to do because you have the money to be able to do that thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think all I was trying to do is that matters to God.
Yes.
Those things matter about you to Him.
Yes.
And you are tapping right into that. And people need to understand that. One other thing that you mentioned, you know, I don't know exactly how you said it, but it's this idea of don't own that negative stuff.
Right.
People can't see it. It's like their periphery needs expanding.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Melissa is expanding your financial periphery so
Right.
that you can see it, and you don't need to own it, own that negative mindset.
Right. Right.
So
right,
you're
yeah.
breaking that
breaking
that
it down by
mantra.
showing them that it's possible. you
Yeah.
know? So when I work with people, they have a series of worksheets that they fill out, and one of those is the list of all their debts. And 9 times out of 10, the step that they miss is adding up all of their minimum payments that they pay out every month.
Mhm.
And when I kind of call them out on it, and they go, well, I didn't want to do that step. I didn't want to face that step, you know, and that's one of the reasons why we meet one-on-one, you know, because I kind of make them, you know,
Yeah.
face that
Yeah.
step, you know. And so I just, you know, we get the calculator out, we go through step by step, and, you know, it's hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars just in minimum payments. And people are like, oh, well, no wonder I can't, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, but
Yeah.
if we got rid of all these,
Yeah.
then you'd have that money to do what you told me you wanted your bucket list item to be, or what you told me, you know. And so
Yeah.
the speed in which you get rid of this is the speed in which what you want happens. I mean, that's how it is, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, it's me putting pencil to paper and saying, this is your current budget. This is what happens when you don't have any more debt. You know, I don't know how long that's going to take you, because there's a variety of factors that go into that. But what that does is it gives people their focus, you know, and then we go
Yes.
through a variety of strategies to help them stay focused on that, whatever that thing is. But it has to be what they want for themselves, not what they want for other people. So it's kind of the
Intimate.
the byproduct of them going after what they want for themselves. The byproduct of that is that eventually they'll get what they want for other people, but it has to be what they want so that they can stay motivated towards that
Yes.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. Joy.
Yeah.
You
It
are-
has to be personal. Yes.
Yes, and that goes right back to the launch pad has to be joy.
Yes.
You've got to feel joy.
Yes.
Count it all joy.
Yep.
And then you can love other people
Right.
powerfully. Then God
Right.
can work right through that.
Right.
But being debt free, being free from that bondage is such a huge issue for people.
Yes.
And the thing that just keeps coming back is that I can't. We
Mm-hmm.
run into this all the time, not just in financial, but just people. Oh, I'm in. I love it. You know, but
Right.
and so you know we're in the same tribe here. You know, that's what coaching is. It's pushing people through the butt.
Through the butt. Right.
But doing it in a joyful, confident, firm, loving way.
Right,
And
right.
you're just it's just great. I
Yes.
mean, people need to call
Thank
you.
you.
The Frank in
Yeah.
me just goes,
We push people through the butt.
Yeah.
We force clarity.
Be looking forward to a Frankism on
yeah, I love it.
It's been a while.
We push people through the butt. I love it. You know, the thing is, you're talking, Melissa, something I feel like God just put on my heart as a little phrase. You said, you know, we don't drift toward excellence.
Right.
And that is just so profound when it comes to our spiritual lives and it comes to our financial lives is we don't drift toward excellence.
Right.
And so the challenge is so many people are out there drifting in space,
Right.
away from excellence, away from their dreams, away from what God has put them here to
Right.
do.
Right.
And they have to step in and own this.
Yes.
And, there's just this common heart here that you just want to stand up and be like, stop it.
Yes.
Stop
Yes.
drifting into,
Yes.
it's like that Dobie
Yes.
Gray song. It's like, give me the beat and free my soul. I want to get lost in your
Yes,
rock and roll
yes,
drift.
yes,
Well, you
yes.
don't drift to
You
anywhere
don't drift.
good.
No.
You don't drift to anywhere good, So
yeah.
you've got to own this. You've
Yeah.
got to step in. So that's my charge.
Well,
for
and
today.
the great thing about social media, and my clients know this, is that, we're all connected on social media. So there will be times where somebody will go buy a new car and they'll put a picture of it on Facebook and they'll say, oh, I got this great deal on this new car. And then on the very bottom, they'll say, Melissa, please don't comment, or something like that. It's like they almost know that I'm going to be like, and I'm not about that. I'm not about bashing people for their decisions because we've done the same thing. You have to make the best financial decision given the information at the time and what you feel is right for your family. So if you feel that that's right to go out and buy a brand new car that's got all the latest and greatest safety features and whatnot, but know that that car payment that you now have is not helping you get closer to what you want. It's becoming a detriment to that. So every decision that you make, and something you said earlier about drifting, on my business cards, the theme for my business is that quote from Thoreau that says, go confidently in the direction of your dreams and live the life you've imagined. And I'm on Instagram almost every day. I'll post a picture about something and I have that on a coffee cup. So about once a week, I use that cup as my coffee cup and I'll take a picture of it. And one of the things that I did was kind of go through, each word of that is that go is a directive. It doesn't say tiptoe. It doesn't say, prance or walk. Or it's just go confidently in the direction of your dreams. And it's a very much, a directive, an order, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And so, to your point of drifting, in and out is people, 5 years from now, if you don't make the changes, you're going to be in the same spot you are now. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
And life is fast.
It is fast. That's for sure.
Amen to that.
That's for sure.
Melissa, always a privilege and genuinely a pleasure.
Thank you so much
to
for
have
having
you.
me. It's awesome.
Our
Yes.
audience appreciates it. I just want to encourage people, Kevin and I both, you've got to touch base with Melissa. Just have a conversation with her. I promise you it'll change your life and certainly get you moving in a good direction so that you can go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Yes.
This is Melissa the Coach. You can connect with her, melissathecoach@gmail.com online,
Yes.
melissathecoach.com. Phone number is 910-338-9612.
Yes.
Give her a holler.
Awesome.
Melissa,
Thank you.
again.
Thank you guys
genuinely.
for having me back. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Guys, we'll take a short break. Back for the final segment right after this. Hello and welcome back to Wake Up Our Faith. This is the second hour of our show, Faith in Business, where we highlight entrepreneurs, business owners who are living excellently in between Sundays, kind of proof of concept that you can too, so that you can remove the obstacles to pursue your dreams, what God has placed inside of you. That is the mission of ministry of our nonprofit, the Life Center, certainly the mission of our business, UPrint. Ken Matham, Kevin Adams, for those who just might be tuning in. Kevin, I want to make sure that our listeners and viewers both know about the Rise Up Race Series and the Hope Run, which is Journey to Heal Ministries.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, we had Emily Parker on the second hour of our show. We've had Crystal Sutherland on as well. These are dear friends of ours who have a cause worth fighting for, and that is sexual assault awareness.
Yeah.
And this is a serious issue that unfortunately plagues 1 in every 10 kids. And they've got a campaign right now called End 1 in 10. And this weekend, they are having a run at Brunswick Forest in Brunswick County called the Hope Run, the first annual Hope Run. It's a 5K and a 1-mile race that kicks off at 8:30 a.m. on April 27th. It is not too late to register. The last I saw, they're almost to their goal.
All right.
And so we want to just
Great.
encourage our listeners
Yeah.
to participate in this. And even for those who go, well, I'm not a runner, here you go. They have a digital participant option as well, where you can make
Wow.
the contribution. You don't have to run, and you still get, I believe, the goodie bag or whatever
That's
it is.
great.
So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and the bottom line is jump in and help, because this is a bad deal out there, and they are so on top of it. So just, yeah, that's good. I'm sure they will appreciate getting the word out again.
Yeah, you can go to journeytohealministries.org/hope run to get signed up if you want to. Again, this Saturday, we will be out there as a gold sponsor with the Hope Run. We'll be manning a booth, and I think I'm going to make my children run to get a little bit of
All
energy
right.
out.
Yeah.
So Kev, I'm
Great.
going to put a kind of a bow on today's show.
Okay.
It was just great, man. It's always
Yeah.
just wonderful.
Yeah, it's really neat to see God tying concepts together. When there's no prior knowledge, our guest comes on and they're already talking about things we just talked about. It's really cool. So yeah, and she's great. I'm telling you, that lady has a fearless confidence that helps you through the things that aren't easy. But it doesn't matter, because so that's the coaching part.
Yes.
She's I can just tell you this, and just being around her a little bit, and of course you know her, she's a great coach because she just stands on it.
Yes.
And that's leadership, and she's got all the knowledge and experience to go with it, but just that exuberance and that uncompromising, joyful stand. It's powerful.
Yeah. It reminds me of last week's show. You know, we talked about on last week's show the difference between salt and sugar, how they look alike
Right.
on the table.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's this saltiness.
Yes.
That's this, you know, it's that thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I ain't going to leave you,
That's
know,
right.
on this island.
Yes.
Because I love you that much, and I'm going to
Yes.
stand up for you that much.
That's right.
That's you need that in a coach.
That's right, and that's why I think that there's such a kindred spirit. So we definitely want to support her, and just as she supports what we do, it's just a growing family. But so as we wrap up here over the next few minutes, you know, let's kind of walk back through this whole thing. You know, God wants you to be free.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want you. You're His idea,
Mm-hmm.
and so that matters. You know, in the Proverbs, I believe it's Proverbs. I couldn't tell you which one right now, but it says it's the glory of God to conceal a matter. It's the glory of kings to uncover it. And so God wants us to kind of run. It is a kind of a hide and seek where
Yeah.
He's hiding just out of sight to get us to participate. So jump in. You know, this life is very short, and your dreams matter. And Melissa is just fosters that so well. She loves Elton John, and it's just cool to see. Man, these are special, personal desires, and they matter to God because they're built on the main thing, and that is to please. And she's doing that.
Yeah.
But you know, just thinking through that whole process of pray with your feet moving, paint your target, understand your desires, have the end in mind. All of these things. This is walking in faith and by faith, you know, from ground zero.
Right. It reminds me, man, this past week during spring break, we took our kids to Washington, D.C., and I've been, but it had been a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it sounds very cliche on the front, but I had a powerful experience at Arlington National Cemetery.
Mm.
And I had been before,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe it's because of where I am spiritually now, or what, I don't know what it was. But when I stepped foot into the grounds, I felt the Holy Spirit just like wash over me. And it spoke specifically to the work that we do. And just what you've said, Kevin, is that this is short, man.
Yeah.
This is short. And these folks, these ladies, these men and women that gave their life, many of them, for this concept of freedom
Right.
in a country where we have the ability to praise God, worship Him, and pursue our dreams. And then I walked across the river and stood where Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I have a dream." I mean, I still even now, I get this just chill. It's like, what else are you going to do with your life?
Yeah.
Then do what it is that God put you here to do.
That's it. It is the greatest responsibility over marriage, over parenting, over all of that. The greatest responsibility you have is to begin to understand who you are and why he made you, because he didn't do it on accident.
Yes.
And that is the first step of obedience. And that requires understanding what we talked about in the very beginning is, what does it mean to be like Jesus? It means to understand that you are a son or daughter of the living God, and it's already mapped out. You just have to follow it. Get on the train.
Yes.
And it'll happen. So, when we have guests on here, we do that because we stand behind their business. It's really helpful and good. People need it. But we also believe in their example of faith. And Melissa's just another fantastic person, an example of someone who's truly living by faith. Yeah. It's so good. But people need to see this over and over again. It's encouraging.
Well, they need it's what we teach is this inspiration, encouragement, teaching.
Yes.
It's this three-legged stool.
Yeah. Right.
You see somebody who's done it before, that's inspiration.
Yeah.
Then you get somebody that stands behind you and go, "You got this, man."
That's right.
And that's encouragement. And then you get teaching, which is that saltiness that says, "Hey, I'm going to hold you honest to this."
Right.
But if you don't have one of those legs, it falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you need at least three.
That's right, man.
To have a three-legged table at home, and even it's wobbly, so more is better.
That's right.
When it comes to legs, but two just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So how are we doing here? We got a couple minutes.
We got a couple minutes. Kevin, I want you, from your perspective, man. I felt a rejuvenated, just kind of passion and desire in you about the work that we get to do and kind of where we are. I just want you, from your heart, to kind of close out the show today with a little bit about what you see in the picture of what God's doing and kind of where we are and how folks can get plugged into this.
Yeah, well, I think that the thing that burns the passion that we have is to help people understand why they matter, and that everything has to start somewhere. But there's so many things that there's traumas and things from the past, and we call them strongholds. But we want to help people not only be set free from those things, and so we walk through that with people. And it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of time, but it's worth it because people are the greatest thing, the most priceless thing there is. So we help people get set free from those strongholds. And this helps you overcome addictions like pornography and emotional struggles. But then we teach you how to navigate the strongholds of others, because you can't change other people. So you have to learn how to navigate that in a godly way. And so that alone is powerful, and it's very freeing. But the other thing is we teach you how then to listen to God fully from the Spirit on up and step into your dream, because that matters. So this is the process. And then we've got the Life Center, which is going great. At some point we'll have a campus with all kind of great stuff happening, entrepreneurship, all kind of good stuff. But the Life Center right now is, the whole idea is it is set there to remove the obstacles from you stepping into your dream. So whether they're financial or emotional, whatever they are, we're here to help you there too. It's a big thing. Jump in. Our faith community, you get these great texts, and it's tax deductible, and it supports this. So if you believe in it, give us a cup of coffee a month.
Yeah. Let's go make this happen, guys. Connect with us. info@uprint.life, uprint.life on the web. We'll be back next week for more of Wake Up Our Faith.